For today's mischief, we're going to make some wheel skirts for the ice castle. So my wheel well openings on my ice castle are 41 inches by 61 inches. They're, 41 inches tall by 61 inches wide. So I've got it marked out on the material here. This is the back side of the material. Try to avoid marking on the good side of the material. So this is, 66 inches, and this is 44 inches, I think it was. You want a little bit oversized so you can turn the edges over for your fasteners. It's worth mentioning that when you take your measurements, take them from beyond the selvaged edge here. I use chalk, like tailor's chalk, to mark on this. You can use regular chalkboard chalk or whatever you want to use, really. And since we've already got one panel cut that's the right size, easiest thing to do is simply take the panel that you've got that's cut to size and use it as a template. You don't want to directly cut it, at least I don't, along this edge here. If this top piece moves at all, then your whole entire piece is bad. So just put it on there and make marks with your chalk or whatever, and then mark your straight lines with your yardstick or whatever you're using, and then cut from there. You don't want to risk messing up that entire sheet. Okay, now onto the hem. This little doohicker is a seam gauge. If you haven't got one of these, you can just use a ruler. This is kind of handy because it's got this little slider on here. You can just easily set it in there. And see, I pre-folded this. I want about 1.5 inches, 1 3/8 fold over. So just like that, and it goes right to that little marker. And you just fold it over and just do a pinch along here initially, because this fabric is pretty stiff. It wants to fight you. Just check as you go. As long as it's close, you're fine. This isn't a garment or anything. It's hanging on a wheelhouse. You can do a double hem, which is basically just folding this over one more time, first. And do the same thing. I just eyeball it, especially this one, because you can't see this at all. So when you fold it over to your overall hem size, it has a nice neat edge like that when you sew it down. And then it can't ravel at all, so it's your choice. Something that might make this a lot easier is this stuff. It's seam tape. I bought it at Sale Right. I think this is 3/8 inch. It's just like a really super sticky two-sided tape. So you use that in place of pins when you're doing your hems and seams and stuff. Makes it a lot easier. And the sewing machine needle doesn't seem to get gummed up with this stuff. I don't know why, it just doesn't. I don't know if regular two-sided tape would work as well. It might. It'd probably be a lot cheaper. This stuff is not cheap. So what you can do is you can run a strip of this stuff in here, if you just want your plain raw edge hem showing like that. If you're doing the double hem like that, you would put it on this edge here, the good side, and then fold that over, and then that would stick down like that all the way across, which is the way I'm going to do it. I don't want that exposed hem because I don't know if this material ravels or not, and I don't want to find out and then have to take it apart later and fix it and all that stuff. I'm going to do this once, and I'm going to just do it right. Just stick it near the edge here. It's just holding it in place so you can, it's basting tape. It's holding it in place so you can sew it without pinning. Yeah, so you can just, I'll need little pieces all the way throughout, but I think that'll be just fine for just to hold it. Alrighty, now over to the ironing board, everybody's favorite. I hate ironing, it sucks. Okay, I brought it over to the dining room table for more sewing space. It should be easier, hopefully. Since this is kind of an experiment anyway, I'm going to try to secure these to my ice house with Velcro. I've got industrial outdoor Velcro. It has like heavy duty like plastic hooks on it, and it's supposed to be for cold weather and everything else. I don't have much confidence in it. It probably won't work, but I'm going to give it a whirl anyway. If it sucks, then I'll just open up a little bit of stitching, slip some rare earth magnets in, and then screw strike plates to my ice house and do it that way. It's not that big of a deal to do a little thing like that along the edge of it. But anyhow, so I'm going to put the fuzzy, the soft side on these, and then the crunchy side on the ice house. And I'm not using the industrial adhesive Velcro. I've actually got stuff that has no adhesive on it because I'm going to sew it on there. If you try to sew through Velcro that has adhesive on it, it makes just a gummy mess in your sewing machine. It's awful. You know, use the industrial hook part, but just regular loop part. It sticks just as well. And these I'm going to stick in place with a little bit of the seam stick, just to hold it in place while I sew. Just a little piece of that. That should be held in place just fine for sewing. To sew the Velcro on, because it's hard to get, you know, the material in there, you just kind of have to do it the best you can. And don't forget to backstitch at the beginning again and the end. For this last run, instead of trying to spin all this around and stuffing it in here and everything, I'm just going to use a backward stitch all the way up the edge. Can't really see what you're doing, but you just kind of have to wing it. And that's basically what you end up with. The easiest way to mark your Velcro onto both pieces is lay the one you've already done down. And I've got Velcro here, so I'm just laying the second side that I'm doing over it. My husband's a guitar player, that's what you're hearing in the background. Anyway, take your tailor's chalk, there's your Velcro strip, just mark it. I put a little mark in the middle of it just so I know the Velcro goes there, so I don't get confused by the dash lines. So that's kind of the easiest way. That way, when you put your Velcro or snaps or whatever you're going to fasten this with on your house, they're pretty uniform on both sides, so you can use each curtain on either side of the house. I don't know, it just seems to make sense in my head, so that's the way I'm doing it. Anyway, just do that all the way around, and that should get you pretty close to where you need to be. And for extra style points, you can put a custom logo on them.